Welcome back to the Guides Network right here on your Lake Fork Guide. Hey, it's a cold, rainy, lightning, thunder, nasty kind of day outside. So we're going to do a Guides Network episode from right here inside my garage from the comfort of my recliner. You know, I've been getting ready for the Guides tournament on Lake Fork. They have one a year in the wintertime every year. It's coming up this Saturday. As I'm going through this tournament prep, I thought maybe I should, come up with a way to help you guys with tournament prep. So what I did, especially for all you high school anglers, all you new guys learning how to tournament fish, I'm going to take a lake that I've never been on. I'm going to use a couple different map sources on my computer, and we're going to look at those and break down an area, and I'm going to show you guys how I'll break down that water and find areas to start fishing as if I were going there to practice for a tournament tomorrow. So, got a little pre-tournament map study breakdown coming up next right here. Alright guys, this is Lake Tawakoni right here, and I apologize for any camera shaking. I'm not the world's best cameraman for sure, so bear with me on that. But I've never been to Lake Tawakoni, even though it's right next to Lake Fork. Right now we're in northeast Texas, what I would call the early pre-spawn, getting really close to the meat of the pre-spawn time frame right now. Lake Tawakoni, just common knowledge, is traditionally a very shallow fishery. So one of the first things that I'm going to do, I'm going to pay attention to the areas that get the longer daylight areas, the areas that get sunlight on them first thing in the morning. That means we're going to be looking at some of these western and northwestern corners of the lake. So I see you got two major, huge creek arms with all kinds of pockets and coves and cuts. Just a lot of good, little nooks and crannies that might warm up early in those two creek arms. So I'm going to focus on these two creek arms and maybe look up here on the north end a little bit. That's typically going to be your shallower, flatter end, and those are going to lend themselves to warming trends a little more so than the rest of the lake. By the way, what you're looking at right here is the Navionics web app. The two things we're going to be using are Navionics web app and then Google Earth. Okay. First, I'm going to look on Navionics web app and try to find some stuff that's very interesting as far as contours. Try to look for some contour stuff. I like sometimes to be smaller sections. As long as I can get a big flat area in the back of them, I like smaller pieces of water. This one right here, I've looked it over a little bit, and this one right here looks very interesting to me because of a couple things. I have a roadbed here. I have an island here. That island indicates some flat water in that area. I've got a creek channel that's going to split right here at the mouth. Looks like I got a little bit of a secondary depression type of area here based on these. So let's switch over to Google Earth and let's get zoomed in on that little pocket right there. Alright, so it looks like in this image on Google Earth, looks like we're a little bit lower than full pull because that island is more of a point right now, as you guys can see there. But if Tawakoni is at full pull, then hey, that'll be an island. And again, flat water. You can see the land raising up right here. The land raising up right here. Remember we said we had a roadbed. Let's see. Yep, there's the old road coming down right there. That's going to run across the lake right here. So let's refer back to this. Old roadbed right here is going to turn up this way. So now we know that we've got this road is going to come out here and wind around somewhere up in this area here. So we know where to look for an old roadbed. And as you can see, this is a very flat, shallow area. If the lake is full, then there's a good high spot right there. Here's another good high spot right here with the main channel that's cutting up through here, the main creek coming up this way. So that means you got the main creek channel right here next to these high spots. Those are exactly what we're looking for in this type of a warming trend situation. Somewhere where the fish can get in a little bit deeper water when it gets really cold, and somewhere where they can pull up in super dirt shallow skinny water when it's warm. Keep in mind, like I said, this is not full pull. If this was full pull, then this would be underwater. Sorry about that glare right there. I'll adjust that screen angle. Another interesting little pocket right here. That would be something that if that water line was all the way back here where it's supposed to be, that would be something that I would think would warm up extremely quickly. Something that could get several, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even 10 degrees of warming in a single day on something like this right here. And that's going to suck bait and suck fish right to it when it does that. Again, more space over here with flat water. That's what we're looking for. Flat water, main channel coming through here with what appears to be decent depth on it. Always hard to tell right here without getting, on the water. That's what you're going to have to do. Find a bunch of areas like this, and then you got to get on the water and cover them and check them out. Now, one thing that I noticed about this pocket as I looked at it, okay, see this right here, tighter contour lines? So even though we've got flat water over here, we have a completely different option right here where you've got like a drain running through here that stays, relatively steep for this body of water, right? So this right in here is a totally different type of option. But what that allows you to do is really kind of confirm what pattern they're on. Are they on the warming trim pattern? Are they on the flat water type of pattern? Or are they on something a little steeper, If you fish this really hard and get no bites, and then you come over here and you get some bites, well then okay, let's quit looking for flat water and let's start looking for steeper water. Here's another flat area as we get to the back. Again, got a good creek bed, and this is these little darker blue dots are road beds. So you have a road bed here, you have a creek bed that even splits back here in two. Comes really close. This creek comes really close to this point. I like that. But flat water, some docks in here, little side pocket that will warm quickly again. So let's check that area out over here on Google Earth. Wow, and see this water here has a different color, it looks like. So maybe what that's going to tell me is maybe this gets a little more flow, gets a little more color in it, and this over here is a little different color water by the satellite imagery. Looks like maybe more grass over here. So maybe a little bit better water clarity and a little bit more grass in this area. You can see those dark clumps out in here. You can see that main channel running right by. Again, this lake is not at full pull, so if the lake's at full pull, then these would be underwater, and you would have your main channel running right here around all these high spots. That's just a complex of awesome cover for the shallow water warming trend that we look for. And you can see how super flat that little area would be and how easy that would warm. Guys, the other thing about this too is this time of year, you want areas that are really protected from the wind. And all these little narrow stretches in here going to be really protected from the wind. Maybe I could see a place where this middle one right here would maybe get hit by the wind a little harder. It was also a little steeper. That's one that I really didn't look at. I didn't put that one on my list. If I was coming in here, this would be probably one of the first places I would fish. I would start right here. I would move to here. And then I would fish the upper end over here. And that's 3 areas that I could hit in a real quick, short amount of time where I'm covering some different types of water and figuring something out. Eliminating water is just as important as finding water when we're talking about pre-fishing. Okay, so that's a relatively small area where you can knock some stuff out real quick. Like we said, cover different types of water. And that's something, a general tip for you guys as you're going along pre-fishing. Hey, maybe pick some of the smaller areas that are easy to break down, find out what the patterns are, and then go from there. Now, that being said, I'm going to take a guess that this time of year it's going to be more likely. For me, I really like that shallow water warming trend with a main creek channel running through it. So as I go along here and look at different things, like I said, really want to be protected from the wind, especially that northwest wind that blows those cold fronts in. That's going to be a colder and usually stronger wind this time of year. Is going to be that north wind, which is going to cool that water off, and that's not what you want. So the areas that are really protected from that north to northwest wind are going to be crucial, and you can see how that would fit that bill right there perfectly. So as we look here, let's zoom in on this area a little bit and see what we got. So we got wood cover telling the stumps. Again, we have some road beds running through here, it appears. And of course, creek channel. There we go. Creek bend, that's Caddo Creek, I guess. Never been to Tawakoni, but that's what it says. So several different creeks feed in here. You can see them tying together all over the place. And this is all in 5 to 6 foot of water. So that all looks pretty good. This is a bigger, flatter area, bigger bay looking type area right here. I apologize. This map is really touchy. But just a big flat bay area that has a lot of different stuff going on. Several different creeks feeding into it. I'm really liking this. You can see a pond back here, creek bed. So a lot of dynamics going on in here, and that's what I like. So let's get on that area right here. Wow, and you can tell how low the lake was in this this picture here. It looks like if the lake's full, there's going to be water up in all these bushes that you're seeing here, from best I can tell. Again, guys, no knowledge on this. Never been to this lake in my life. This is all just my best assumption from what I can tell on the map, which is what you would have to do. What I like about this right here is, like I said, a lot of stuff going on, and you can see here a lot of secondary depressions with high spots adjacent to them. That low spot right there, when the water was low, that's going to tell you that's lower. And obviously your main creek channel is going to be right here. 2 different creek channels coming in right here. And then these will be your secondary drain type areas. All of these are things that I'm going to want to check out. Again, here's a small pocket that can warm quickly. Very protected from that north wind like we talked about. So I like that right there. So if I was going to come fish this big bay, I'd hit this. I'd definitely be hitting this area right here. And of course I want to check out the mouths of these creeks and the high spots adjacent to those as well. That's pretty good looking little area right there. Little round bay just off the 2 main channels, really protected from wind. So as I look around, oh, here's another one right here. So see this little small main lake pocket? Something easy to break down. Let's check that out on our Navionics app, see what we got going on there. Here we go. It's even got a convenient boat ramp right here. Let's see. Oh, wow, look here. So we got 2 creek channels coming in here. Got a main one going up this way. Got a main one going back here. Have a split in the creek channel where it loops back in back here. That looks like we're going to have a good deep creek in here probably. I don't know, probably relative on Tawakoni from what I've heard about it. But here, look here. Road bed, submerged culvert, submerged culvert, submerged culvert. So you have a road bed right here that has 3, old creek bridges basically. Little culverts where these little drains and creeks ran under the old road. That looks good. Got 1 boat dock out here isolated. I tell you what, that's one thing I noticed right there. I only see the 1 boat dock. Well, that's going to be an ideal staging type of boat dock right there, because you got this big, relatively big bay. Switch on over to Google Earth now. Sure enough, right there. Looks like maybe some grass growing out off this point. And this one lone boat dock is very isolated. I'm digging that. I'm digging that a lot. That is going to be a great spot to catch a staging fish. With a jig, if there's enough water clarity, a jerkbait or Alabama rig could be the deal there. But that's going to be a spot where you might catch a bunch of fish off of 1 dock right there. You can kind of see one of those old roads coming down in here. We know that road came across here and then went this way. So it looks like maybe upon further inspection, that creek channel is not quite as deep as I had hoped it would be. But that's okay. It's still a drain. It's still something to hold them. And we have very, very flat area back here. Very protected from the wind again. and a lot of stuff that would be in the water if the lake is full. Even got a low spot back here. Looky here, looky here. There is some gold right there, guys. You see that right there? So if this lake is full and all this is water, okay, you got super shallow water right here, and then you got a big depression. An old pond is what that looks like in the back here. Man, that is the type of area they will stay glued to, because when it gets really cold, they can get down in that low spot, and when it gets warm like they like it, they can get up in these bushes and go to town and sunbathe and eat and just be a big old fat happy bass. But that right there could be a gold mine if the lake was full and you could access it. Got a little boat ramp ditch or something here. Again, shallow water. You can see these little bushes. These aren't big trees, guys. These are little bushes in the water that you could check out right out here in the middle even. So let's see how shallow Navionics said that is over there. Yeah, 4 or 5 foot in here, right there where the low part of it runs right through it. So that's beautiful. In fact, that almost looks like the little ditch running through it right there, maybe. Lots of cover in the water. I'm liking this area. This will be one that if I found the shallow water pattern working, I'd want to spend a lot of time in here. I think this area has a lot of potential just because of how much stuff it has going on. Roadbed, culverts, brush in the water, pond in the back. I mean, 2 different creeks coming in, 2 different drains, channels, whatever you want to call them. A lot of stuff happening in this bay right here. All right, one more thing I would look for. If you guys saw, I think Mike McFarland talked about it a little bit on the seminar they did at Lake Fork Tackle last week, but, you know, transitional pinch points. Bridges, in other words. See, you got this cove back here, right? And then you got this bridge. Well, every fish that's going to move into this cove during the pre-spawn time period has to come through that bridge. It also sets up as a wind funnel, a current funnel, and a great spot for those fish to set up and a great spot for those fish to set up and ambush prey. So that'd be another pattern I'd be thinking about. So I'm going to go along and find all of those that I can. All right, so let's zoom out and look, see what we can find. Okay, there's one. Here's one right here. As we zoom in. Sorry about getting the camera sideways there. Well, that's one I don't know if we could even get under. That might just be a culvert there. So that would be a maybe. That'd be one of the last ones I hit because I'm not sure that we could get through that one or not. Let's see what else we got. There's our original one we found. This one's a little too big. I wouldn't really concentrate on this one as much. Oh, here looks like a really good one. Yep, see it's got a little bitty chute right there. If you zoom in, that's rock riprap. Man, that looks beautiful right there. I'm liking that. I'm digging that right there. If I was going to run that bridge pattern, then that'd probably be the very next pattern I checked out after those backwater areas. That would be it right there. Well, I just changed an angle somehow, and I did not mean to do that. Whoops. Guys, that's also, I mean, that's kind of a twofer right there. Let's see what Navionics has to say about old Walnut Cove. Let's see if I can find it on here. There it is, Walnut Cove. So all shallow water back here. Several boat docks. It's not going to give us any contours back there. Gee, thanks for that, Navionics. But based on this, looks pretty grassy. It's got some kind of growth. If it was full, we'd have some bushes in the water. Really flat area. Doesn't look like there's much of a ditch or channel. That's kind of a disappointment, but I wouldn't necessarily rule it out for that. Several boat docks in here. You know, you could kind of check both patterns right there all in one shebang where you've got the old bridge deal here, the pinch point going into a spawning area, and you've got a very wind protected, cover rich environment behind there. So I like that too. See, and what makes me pick that over this. Couple things. Number one, the pinch point drew my attention. Number two, as I look at this looks very wide. This looks more narrow and long. That's going to tell me that's going to tend to have steeper banks, and this is going to be flatter. So let's check this out. So here we go. If we look over here at Walnut, very flat, no contour lines, but even out at the mouth, contour lines are more spread out, more flat. If you look over here at this one, the contour lines are much tighter, longer narrow cove. So that's going to tell me that's going to be steeper banked area, deeper water, and that one's going to take much longer to warm up than the old Walnut Cove over here is. So that would be why I would pick this area over this area this time of year. Well, there you go, guys. That's several areas using two different maps. That's a lake I've never been on. All I know is what I've heard, that it's a shallow water fishery. This is a great time of year to fish shallow, especially if you get the right warming trend days. Like is coming this weekend. This Saturday is going to be a good warming trend day. But that's the type of areas I would focus on. If I was going there tomorrow to fish it, I'd be looking at those type of areas. Now, no absolutes in fishing, no absolutes on map study. Going to be a lot of stuff to pay attention to when you get there as far as bait presence, grass presence. Just, absorb every detail and make your decision based on those. But as of right now, if I was going to Lake Tawakoni tomorrow to start pre-fishing, I would start in that first area that we showed you that had those three different areas right there together. I would definitely hit the back of that big creek if I found a little bit of a shallow water bite. If I found the clues to what I want up shallow, I'd be going to that big bay, going to the back of that, and really spending some time in there. I'd want to hit that main lake cove as well across the way. And then tonight, I would spend the rest of my time looking for as many of those small pitch points as I could. And I can tell you the first one I'd go to would be that old Walnut Cove that we saw on there. So hopefully that helps you. Those are the types of things that I look for in the pre-spawn on a shallow water type fishery, which a lot of our East Texas lakes are. Most of our East Texas lakes, the vast majority will have that shallow warming trend type of bite this time of year. So that's really what I look for, because those big girls move up early and you can hit some home runs up there if you get it right. So like I said, hope that helps. That's how I would do it. And hey, let me know if you like this type of video, if you want me to show you later in the spring how I'd break down a lake, or in the summer, if you'd like this to be a seasonal addition to the Guides Network where we show you how we break down maps on lakes we've never been to. Let me know what you think in the comments below right down there, and we'll be sure and do that for you guys. Hey, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure and give me a thumbs up. Hey, if you want to see more, be sure and subscribe. We got lots of stuff coming. Spring's coming. The fishing's only going to get better. It hadn't been bad so far, but it's fixing to get real good. So you guys stay tuned. We'll keep getting after them, and we'll see you guys next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.